Our journey begins in Uzbekistan, within the fortress walls of Khiva. This is a desert jewel box lost in the sand, where the air is so dry it preserves the scent of old cedar wood and sun-baked clay for centuries. As you walk through the massive west gate, you are dwarfed by the Kalta minor minaret. It was intended to be so tall that a man could see all the way to Bokhara, but it stands unfinished, a massive, truncated cylinder wrapped in thousands of glazed tiles that shift from deep peacock emerald to an electric, shimmering turquoise. The silence in these narrow alleys is heavy, broken only by the dry desert wind whispering against mud walls that have stood since the height of the Silk Road. In the humid, emerald heart of Sri Lanka, a titan of orange gneiss erupts from the jungle floor. This is Sigiriya, the Lion Rock, a defiant hand reaching 600 feet into the clouds. At its base, you walk through water gardens so technologically advanced that their gravity-fed fountains still spray during the monsoon rains, 1,500 years after they were built. The climb is a test of spirit. You move along the mirror wall, polished with lime and egg whites until it glows like gold in the afternoon sun. After passing the colossal carved lion paws, you ascend the final iron staircase as the wind howls against the rock face. At the summit, you stand upon the throne of a fugitive king, looking out over an endless ocean of green canopy. High in the Andes of Peru, tucked between the jagged peaks of Huayna Picchu, lies Machu Picchu, a city in a permanent, ghostly embrace with the mist. At this altitude, the air is thin and smells of wet granite and mountain moss. The engineering here defies every modern logic. The Inca didn't use mortar. Instead, they spent lifetimes sanding massive stones to fit together with such surgical precision that a razor blade cannot slide between them. Watch as the morning Yunu mist dances through the Temple of the Sun, illuminating the gray-green labyrinth. It feels less like a ruin and more like a mountain that simply decided to wake up and become a city. In Cambodia, the jungle is a slow-motion predator. At Angkor Wat, man's ambition meets the forest's infinite, suffocating patience. This is a silent, green struggle between stone and root. The sound here is a constant, vibrating hum, the buzz of cicadas and the heavy drip of humidity from the ancient canopy. In temples like Ta Prohm, the giant silk cotton trees don't just grow near the walls, they have become the walls. Their roots flow over doorways like molten gray lava, thick and muscular, literally lifting tons of sandstone off the earth. Every carved face of a god is slowly being smoothed over by velvet moss, a reminder that every empire is eventually reclaimed by the soil. In Turkey, the ground under your feet is a beautiful lie. At Pamukkale, it looks like jagged, frozen ice, but it feels like hard, warm limestone. These are the cotton castles, terraces of white calcium-rich water that look like clouds fallen to earth. As you wade through the turquoise pools, the sun reflects off the white terraces with such blinding intensity that you feel like you are floating in a world made of pure, liquid light. Behind you sit the ruins of Hierapolis, an ancient Roman spa city where the ghosts of emperors once bathed in these same mineral waters to heal their broken bodies. Still in Turkey, the earth here didn't grow, it was hollowed out. Cappadocia is a volcanic moonscape where the rocks rise in tall, spindly, fairy chimneys. For centuries, civilizations retreated into the stone, carving secret apartments, massive cathedrals, and entire 18-story underground cities that could house 20,000 people in total, echoing silence. As you walk through these hand-carved rooms, the air is cool and smells of ancient dust. Outside, hundreds of hot air balloons drift over the honey-colored valleys at dawn, looking like a dream sequence from a fairy tale that never ended. Deep in the humid, tropical heart of Mexico, the Mayan ruins of Tulum sit where weathered white stone meets the endless, crashing turquoise of the Caribbean. The sea breeze hits the ancient limestone temples, carrying the scent of salt and jungle flowers. These pyramids weren't just buildings, they were astronomical clocks, perfectly aligned with the stars to track the passing of ages. The contrast between the gray, sun-beaten stone and the bright, neon blue of the water creates a visual portal that feels like the edge of the world. Across the sea in Croatia, we reach Dubrovnik, the pearl of the Adriatic. These massive stone walls, some 6 meters thick, have defended the city for 1,000 years, dropping straight into the deep sapphire void of the sea. Below the battlements, the water is so clear you can count the white pebbles on the seabed. Above, the orange terracotta rooftops glow like hot embers under the Mediterranean sun. It is a fortress of orange and blue, a cinematic relic where the narrow limestone streets have been polished to a shine by the footsteps of millions over centuries. When the seasonal rains fall in Bolivia, the Sala de Uyuni ceases to be a place and becomes a paradox. This is the closest a human can get to standing in infinity. With a thin layer of water covering 10,000 square kilometers of salt, the horizon vanishes completely. If you stand in the center, there is no up, no down, only the perfect, staggering reflection of the Andean sky. The silence here is heavy and absolute, broken only by the crunch of salt crystals under your boots. You are walking on the clouds, suspended in a void of pure light and crystalline salt. Off the southwestern tip of Mauritius, the Indian Ocean holds a visual glitch that defies human logic. From an aerial view, the turquoise waters suddenly appear to plummet into a dark, bottomless abyss. This is the underwater waterfall. It is a terrifying illusion of sand and silt being sucked down an oceanic shelf into the deep. The scale is dizzying, it looks as though the very floor of the ocean has opened up to swallow the sea whole. It is a staggering reminder of how deep and mysterious the blue void below us truly is. In the heart of Argentina's Patagonia, the Perito Moreno Glacier is the sound of the earth breathing. This is a wall of compressed, electric blue ice, 5 kilometers wide and 60 meters high. It doesn't sit still, it groans and pops like a giant wooden ship under pressure. When a block of ice the size of a 15-story building finally shears off and crashes into the freezing waters, the roar vibrates in your very bones. It is raw, cold, terrifying power that reminds you the earth is alive. At the very edge of the world, in Ivalo, Finland, we find the polar night. The snow is so thick and pristine that it muffles every sound, creating a silence so heavy you can hear your own pulse. But then, the sky begins to crack open. The northern lights appear, ribbons of neon green, violet, and crimson that dance and fold across the stars. Standing in the freezing Lapland air, watching the heavens catch fire, you realize that the most beautiful things on earth are often the most fleeting. Deep in the Min Mountains of China lies the Juzhega Valley, the Valley of 9 Villages. The lakes here are so clear that you can see ancient, fallen trees lying on the bottom, perfectly preserved by the mineral-rich water. The colors shift from a bright, electric turquoise to a deep, royal sapphire within a single pool. As the multi-level waterfalls tumble over limestone terraces, they create a constant, rhythmic roar that harmonizes with the rustling of the primeval forest. On the southeastern coast of Sri Lanka, the rules of nature shift in Yala National Park. Here, the thorny scrub jungle runs straight into the golden dunes of the Indian Ocean. It is a land of sharp contrasts, the dusty heat meeting the salt-heavy breeze of the sea. You watch as a leopard draped over a granite boulder stares out at the crashing waves, or a herd of elephants crosses a lagoon as the sun sets, turning the water into liquid gold and the sky into a bruised purple. In the Bavarian Alps of Germany, the white limestone towers of Neuschwanstein Castle rise above the dark green pines. This is the ultimate fairy tale aesthetic, the palace that inspired stories of magic and royalty. Set dramatically against jagged peaks and misty valleys, it looks like it was summoned by a spell rather than built by hand. It is the architectural embodiment of a dream, standing guard over a world of myth and crisp mountain air. In the Netherlands, the spring brings a visual explosion at Keukenhof. 7 million tulips bloom at once, creating horizontal rainbows that stretch across the landscape. The colors are so intense they don't seem real, vivid purples, oranges, and reds arranged in perfect geometric patterns. The air is thick with the scent of a million flowers. It is a curated masterpiece of nature, a brief, staggering moment where the earth becomes a living carpet of color.